Hello, my name is Lylablu, and I'm here today with
Kevin Fenton.
the head of the Department of Counseling Services here at Worcester State University. And I'm here today just to ask him a few questions about his department and his position there. And yeah. Could you just tell me a little bit about yourself and the role that you partake in at the center?
Yeah, sure. So currently my title is Assistant Dean of Student Affairs and Director of Counseling Services. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I started here as a 10-month therapist in 2008.
Wow.
So I've been here for a bit and sort of worked my way through a number of different roles to where we are now, which is a little bit more administrative than therapeutic, but still a good spot to be.
Interesting. What really inspired you to work in the counseling center and as a supporter for students?
I think partly was some of my college experience, kind of bouncing around. I was an accounting major, I was a marketing major, I was a communications major, and fortunately, like some students, I ran into a couple of professors in psychology who sort of really helped me sort of identify what makes sense for me as a career path. And so they were really sort of supported in guiding me, and that's what really led me initially into the psychology field.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. What would you most enjoy about working with students at Worcester State?
You know, I think a piece of it is, and it's going to sound a little nerdy, but it's sort of the developmental place that students are in, sort of leaving adolescence into early adulthood and all those changes in identity, and to see a student start and then graduate in whatever path it is, whether it's 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, it's really rewarding to see those changes that students go through.
That's very nice, yeah. That's admirable. How do you handle changes or difficult situations that you come across with the students that you assist?
For me personally, it's about slowing down. I think sometimes when challenges arrive or difficult situations pop up, it's easy to be reactive, and it's learning that you know, decision making, problem solving, it's really at a slower pace, not responding to some of that emotional reactivity that we go through at times, where sometimes if emotion is driving our decisions in challenging situations, it can be problematic. Although emotions are important and really the center of our lives, in the most challenging situations, we really want to slow some of that down.
I agree.
Sure.
How would you describe the main, more common services that you come across? What are the most common ones?
So I think we offer traditional individual therapy, almost like an outpatient clinic. So that's our most sort of, you know, classic way of meeting with students. But we go beyond that. We offer sort of daily walk-in appointments, and we do a lot of outreach programming across departments, across divisions, really to also get out to where students are, because we do outreach to sort of meet with students in different ways, sort of develop that relationship. So if they have some challenging situation or mental health concern, they're willing and not hesitant to come in and meet with us.
That's very good.
Yeah.
How does the counseling center support students who are experiencing stress or anxiety or other mental health challenges?
I think that depends. You know, there's currently 6 therapists who work in our office. So it depends what the source of stress is, what the source of depression is, what the source of anxiety is, and you know, it depends on what interventions we might offer. Is it more behavioral, and we can make some behavioral changes? Is it more cognitive, that we have to look at the way a person's thinking about the world? So everyone's a little bit different in how they sort of process through and treat students, with the ultimate goal of decreasing anxiety, decreasing stress, and making you know, lives a little bit more balanced. Which is different here, is that students, we call them students because there's an academic program that we're trying to sort of support their success in, which is one piece that would be different than, say, if you're meeting with a therapist in the Worcester community.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes more sense. And considering that you have a very important helper here at Worcester State MK, what brought MK into the circle of Worcester State, and what are the benefits that MK brings to Worcester State?
So that's I could talk a long time about that piece, but you know, for a few years I was kind of joking about having a dog on campus. I started to do a little bit of research as we're going through the pandemic, and there's an agency called Needs in Sterling, which I had passed probably hundreds of times in my life, and I didn't know they were there. But it's a real sort of formal application process. So I actually go, and because of the job I do, I can apply. His formal title is he's a therapeutic assistance dog. So he's actually trained as a service dog, but he likes people too much. So a service dog would work for one individual their whole lives. For him, that wouldn't make a ton of sense because he likes being around people.
Very friendly.
So you see dogs like him in courtrooms, in high schools, in colleges, even some clergy have them. Really, it helps to, it makes my job really easy in developing rapport with students. He's also sort of a grounding, calming force for a lot of students that do come in and meet who might have some hesitancy, some reluctance, and it offers sort of a little bit of a sidebar to get to know somebody and just talking about an animal in that space. When I get out more often, which is the goal, it's sort of this outreach in the Worcester State community, the students just seeing him, spending a few minutes petting him, spending a few minutes engaging with him, really tends to sort of bring people back out of their minds and out of their stress for just a moment. And so he has a really neat impact on students just throughout the course of the day in my comings and goings, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's very obvious that MK has a large positive impact on the Worcester State community. Would you say that there are other benefits to bringing as a student, bringing yourself to the counseling center and asking for help, which can be a difficult thing to do? Yeah,
of course. It's really students getting to that place where they admit that they can need some help and support. That acknowledgement is a real, it's not an easy step for students to make. It's easier to avoid, it's easier to deny. And so making that choice to come in and see us, I don't want to underestimate that's a big step towards making some changes. The students who come into our office, you know, it also doesn't have to be, sometimes I think we overblow what it is, right? Some students we see regularly, right? Every couple weeks, we see them throughout the semester. Other times, students might just come and check in with us through our walk-in, our triage programming, and that might be what they need in that moment, in that time. So unlike a practitioner in the community, we don't need insurance. There's no additional cost. We have a lot of flexibility with our ability to see students when we can. And so we really try to sort of focus students on that piece. You're not agreeing to lifelong therapeutic relationship. You know, it might be a couple of times this semester. I know a couple of students that I have that they're going to pop in once or twice every semester, and that's what they just need to sort of stabilize. And that's a little bit different than maybe some of our students who may have longer-term chronic mental health needs, and we'll serve those students more consistently.
It's very interesting that your center is able to work so flexibly with other students at Worcester State. How does the counseling center work with other campus departments in helping the community and students? Yeah, so
I think we do a lot of training in a lot of different departments. Every year we train residential life staff. We offer trainings to faculty, any administrators. A big part of that is we want people outside of just us to be prepared to help and support students with mental health needs. a big piece of that is that we're not the only place. We know it's a campus-wide task to support mental well-being.
Definitely.
So yeah.
Very interesting. Well, thank you so much for coming in today. I really appreciate it. Thank you for answering my questions.
Yeah, sure. You're welcome.
Thank you again, MK,
Yeah.
for helping out.
He's snoozing.
He deserves it. Well,